So let me walk you through the agenda really quickly. I will do a short presentation, and then David will give you a demo of LiveAction. So let's take a look at what LiveAction is. Many years ago, LiveAction started out as a QoS management tool, but today it is a fast, simple, and cost-effective way to monitor and control application performance. And we do this by leveraging the Cisco advanced technologies such as NetFlow, QoS, Medianet, AVC, IPSLA, etc., to make it simple and easy for customers to monitor, troubleshoot, and resolve application performance problems without the use of expensive hardware probes. So picture on the left here is LiveAction exclusive visualization technology, which is the network topology with the end-to-end flow imposed on the topology to give you this situational awareness to better manage your network. And this is very unique in the industry and give you this unparalleled visibility to troubleshoot network performance problems. So LiveAction gives you 4 major functionality, and let me quickly go over those. On deploy, LiveAction enable NBAR2 CEF, QoS, AVC, Medianet, IPSLA with just a few simple clicks, and that will be shown in David's demo shortly. On analyze, LiveAction captures and processes the same flow technologies that we just mentioned, plus SNMP, CBQoS, routing, and LAN data to provide extensive analysis of these performance data sources and help you find trouble spots quickly and efficiently. On troubleshoot, we have guided workflow, we have color-coded status, we have alerting, search and filter capability, 360-degree report view, and very graphical media trace and media flow analysis to help you easily pinpoint the source of the problem. And then on fix, what's unique about LiveAction is that we not only help you find the problems, we also fix those problems. How we do that is we allow you to configure and adjust QoS policies to fix these performance issues, and then afterwards you can validate these QoS changes instantly by looking at the traffic flow in real time. So this is just to show you some of our customers which span across multiple verticals, right, from financial services to manufacturing to education to public sector. These customers represent the mid-market and enterprise segments, and some of them are well-known and have very large and complex networks. And most of our customers use LiveAction to, number one, simplify troubleshooting and resolution of application and network performance issues. And it's been reported that LiveAction can accelerate troubleshooting from 30 to 50%. They also use LiveAction to fine-tune QoS policy to optimize performance and, of course, at the end, enabling higher quality end user experiences. This ultimately results in the ability to reduce costs and to increase productivity so that they can focus on running their business. You've probably seen this slide before in a Cisco IWAN presentation, and what we've done is we've added LiveAction here to show you how it provides the IWAN management functions to complement the Cisco IWAN components, and we'll go over these in a little bit more detail. But in a nutshell, across these 4 IWAN components, we provide QoS monitoring and configuration to optimize your network transport. On intelligent path control, LiveAction provides the PFR visualization and reporting to visualize the past changes, would tell you what out-of-policy conditions trigger those past changes and what application traffic was affected or moved. For PFR Phase 3, we will be providing richer reporting, including PFR dashboards, trending, and PFR configuration. On application optimization, we offer AVC visualization, reporting, and configuration to report, diagnose, and mitigate application performance issues. And then on security, we visualize ASA N-cell and ASR1K high-speed logging events to provide some very simple security analysis. So to summarize again, LiveAction IWAN management provides the situational awareness and visualization for IWAN intelligent path control and application optimization. So as you can see on the right, the two divers think they're doing okay, but they don't know that there's a shark behind them because they don't have the situational awareness. And this is the basis of LiveAction implementation. LiveAction gives you the network visibility and situational awareness to accelerate troubleshooting of performance issues. We'll go over these four components in a little bit more detail. So LiveAction IWAN management provide these unique user benefits. First is save time and money, right? Because you can actually see the path changes graphically and why. Therefore, it's easier and faster to troubleshoot and justify the return on investment of the IWAN implementation. Second is increased IWAN adoption. Well, seeing is believing, right? We help visualize what CLI cannot, and that will definitely help improve the IWAN value. Together, LiveAction and Cisco provide an end-to-end IWAN solution to our customers, and compared to expensive hardware probes, Cisco and LiveAction is a better value proposition. The third thing is increased productivity. LiveAction visualizes everything, right? So that provides the user with a deeper understanding of application and network performance issues. We not only help you find the problems, we help you fix the problem through our graphical QoS configurator and robust IWAN reporting. And then on ease operation, you will see it for yourself in the demo that our GUI is very powerful and easy to use. So over the next 4 slides, we'll talk a little bit more specific about the different features of LiveAction IWAN management. And why I have the screenshots here for you for reference in the future, I'm going to go over them very quickly because I think that it's going to be easier for you to understand these features through David's demo. So on intelligent path control, I would just simply say that LiveAction can show you the actual path changes. So here what you see is before the brownout, the traffic took the northern path, and after the brownout, the traffic takes the southern path. It can also show you the outer policy conditions that trigger the path changes, what application traffic was moved from one provider to another, and all the detailed reports. In the future, I mentioned to you that we will be providing additional reporting for PFR. So for example, with the dashboard, we'll provide like a high-level view of the path changes and the reason why by providers, by site, how many were mitigated and how many were not and why, and then allow you the ability to drill down for more information. And then on trending, we'll be providing such things as, you know, during the last 6 hours or the last few days, what's been happening, how many path changes occurred, how much traffic was moved from where to where, what applications were protected, etc. And then on PFR configuration, you probably know that the new CLIs are going to be simpler, but we will also be providing the graphical interface for configuration of PFR in LiveAction. And we are working with NOSTG on that. So if you have requirements from your customers, make sure you provide that to Sumant, the product manager. So on application optimization, LiveAction visualizes the end-to-end AVC flows and the NBAR2 applications, the response time breakdown between networks and applications, and then it provides a loading and very robust AVC reports. And David will show you how to create QoS policy based on NBAR2 and how LiveAction can be used to optimize application performance. So on this graphic on the right here, we basically throttle down BitTorrent traffic to improve Microsoft Office 365 performance. And instantly you can see that the traffic from BitTorrent has subsided through the visualization of LiveAction. So on QoS monitoring and configuration, David will show you how LiveAction can visualize QoS classification and congestion indicator across the network topology, how LiveAction can track performance on a per-class basis, and other monitoring and alert functionality to provide proactive notification of potential performance issues. We also have a full QoS configurator, and that will allow you to modify policies, QoS policies on the fly, and then you can instantly validate the change or the impact of QoS policy through these graphics. And then on NCL and HSL analysis, LiveAction provides some simple visualization in terms of traffic, in terms of flows being created or denied, and also for HSL when sessions are created or removed. So I'm going to pause for a second to see if anybody has any questions. No questions, okay. So with that, let me turn it over to David for his demo of LiveAction IWAN management. David, are you ready?
Yep. This is the LiveAction software. It's really a tool, as Kathleen was mentioning, for application performance management. What makes it unique in the industry is also its rich quality of service control for management of your enterprise network. So really what LiveAction does is we're able to help deploy a lot of that technology that you see, like AVC and Medianet, from a flow perspective, quality of service, and SLA example as well, and then to analyze and troubleshoot your problems, and then fix it by means of QoS. So LiveAction is a very dynamic application. What you're seeing right now is routers as well as switches within this topology map. LiveAction discovers the devices and then audits its capabilities based off of what it can do from key technology perspectives. So by doing this audit, we know that, for example, this particular 2921 ISR G2 router can support AVC and Medianet, quality of service, hierarchical queuing framework, and so forth. So being able to know that not just from a template perspective, but really knowing what the capability of the device is from a running config perspective as well as from SNMP. Now, let me just zoom in and out of this topology, and as you can see, it's like a dynamic Visio diagram. So we see many different topologies on my map at the moment. I'm just grabbing white space and moving things around. I'm zooming in and out of this topology by using the scroll button on my mouse. So to help you get your bearings of what you're seeing, the big circles represent routers. The little circles within it represent interfaces. The top portion, ingress bandwidth, and the bottom portion, egress bandwidth. So as you're moving these routers around, it really helps you to recreate that mental model of the network engineer. So for you folks, you probably think of traffic going from east to west, west to east, or north to south, and so forth. By overlaying NetFlow technology over this topology view, it really helps you with unsurpassed situational awareness. So by just clicking on this particular flow in my PFR setup, I'm actually looking primarily at a voice call going from my main headquarters router represented by this 2921 in San Francisco, going off to a service provider, AT&T, and that's represented by this little router there in the middle, and then off to our remote site, which is in Los Angeles. So by just simply clicking on that flow, you can see end to end where that flow, how that flow is actually traversing your network. Now, this system topology allows you to see all that flow technology at once. We're, as Kathleen was mentioning, we're a Cisco development partner. We've completed 4 IVTs so far. But what you can also do with this system topology is be able to ask it questions, like an intelligent Google search almost. So for example, we have a semantic knowledge that we allow end users to provide within LiveAction, and I basically labeled that this particular site is in San Francisco and this router is in Los Angeles. So we can query the system topology and ask it questions like, show me all flows in San Francisco. By pressing enter, it's going to only show me the flows within that particular site. All the other flows are hidden at the moment. I can also say then, or show me all the flows within Los Angeles. Press enter again, and now we see that only San Francisco flows and the Los Angeles flows are being shown. You can do quite a bit of different queries like a Google search, and also say I want to see everything from site San Francisco and then also site Los Angeles, and show me everything with a DSCP value equals to EF for voice traffic. By doing that, it's only showing you any traffic marked EF for my site San Francisco as well as Los Angeles. So it's a really cool way to be able to query the flows within your device, within your topology map, asking it questions about specific things that you're looking for as you're troubleshooting the network. Now let me just go ahead and clear that. This is the system topology view. We show you many different types of flow technologies, including general flexible NetFlow or traditional NetFlow, Medianet, AVC, NCell for ASAs, PFR, as well as wireless flows. But just by simply double-clicking on a particular device or by clicking on the device in the tree view on the left-hand side, it'll take you into a real-time report of sorts. So in this case, you're looking at all the flows going in and out of this particular 2921 router. We're looking at all flows at the moment, but you can easily switch to Medianet and get a better idea of how your real-time applications are faring at this particular device, at this particular site. So some of these flows are actually showing up as red, and some of the fields are showing as a deeper red because of packet loss. So LiveAction has the ability to set threshold crossing alerts within the system to be able to help you troubleshoot those problems proactively within the network. By going over to AVC, you folks are very familiar with AVC as well. We're going to give you information about all of the different applications. In this case, like MySQL. There's other flows like Shoutcast, Citrix. If you look a little bit further, there's Netflix right there and YouTube. So by bringing out all of that NBAR2 capability within the ISRG2s, we're able to help you understand what applications are being used and consumed within the network. And then also giving you all that information about AVC and the application response time measurements. Now, another cool feature within LiveAction is, let's say you wanted to troubleshoot something that happened very early in the morning. By clicking on the historical playback, you can think of this feature as a NetFlow DVR of sorts. So for example, if I expand this, we're looking at all the flows ingressing and egressing this device back at midnight. Now, if you wanted to just review what was going on at this particular time, you can select the type of flow technology that you're interested in. Maybe it's Medianet because there was a call with a foreign country at midnight at that time, and you can simply press play, and we're going to replay all those flows on this device view as if you're sitting on the console live and see all those threshold crossing alerts that could be happening at that particular time.
Hey, David, where's all this information stored, and what kind of granularity do you have, and up to how far back, etc.?
Yeah, good question, Dale. So all of this is stored in our back-end database. We actually experimented with many different types of database, like SQL and on other ones as well. But what we did was we created an optimized database for time series type data, like NetFlow. So you could store this data for as long as you have hard drive space. So a lot of our customers push this off to migrate that data off to a SAN location later, and you can store that data as long as you want. And the cool thing about LiveAction also is that we don't actually aggregate all this flow information. It's very raw. So if you're looking for that needle in the haystack, you can go back as far back as you have hard drive space and find that needle within the haystack from a NetFlow perspective.
And pulling this information from the routers, how much load does that put on the routing device?
That's a good question too. So with LiveAction, you're able to characterize what type of CPU utilization we're having. Now this is one of my lab devices, a 2921. Currently we're showing at about 72% CPU, but a lot of our engineers are actually pulling this from an SNMP perspective. You can see that a lot of these other devices are quite a bit smaller in their capability. And LiveAction, I'm going to get into this in just a little bit, but we also provide a way to do flow configuration as well. But we don't just turn on flow. We do it in more of an intelligent manner. We actually set and use policy maps and class maps to classify exactly which type of AVC traffic or which type of Medianet traffic you're interested in metering, so that we're not just grabbing everything. So to also reduce the CPU load. Yeah.
I have
so
a
not
question.
Only do we show you. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
This looks like it really takes advantage of tools that are inherent into the router to steer around transport anomalies. Is there a way, back at your other picture, you have the AT&T and Verizon, if you see, branch 1, for example, we're constantly steering around a problem with the Verizon transport. Is there a way that we will be able to go to that provider and say, we're constantly having problems on this link, and our service level, if you happen to have one with your IWAN, service, is this, that you're not meeting that service level, go fix it, sort of, you know what I'm asking?
Yes, we could definitely do that. We can do that in multiple ways. Because we have full NetFlow capability by monitoring all of that, we can see whether or not the service provider is honoring your DSCP values that are being set at your headquarters going off to the remote sites. So we can check to see if this particular voice call going across AT&T is retaining its EF DSCP marking. We also have capability within LiveAction to do IP SLA as well. So a lot of our customers actually deploy shadow routers within their network just to make sure that they're getting the service level that they expect. So by deploying jitter probes or just regular echo probes within the network, LiveAction can go in and provision all of that for you, and we can also use that as a means to double check whether or not the service provider is giving you that SLA that you require. So not only does LiveAction give you all of these flow information from a system perspective, a device perspective, in a graphical format, but we also have dashboards and reports that will really be able to help you too. So at a high-level system, for example, we were asking about CPU utilization and memory utilization and so forth. We're going to give you that top 10 information within our system's dashboard, and then a slew of alerts based off of how you set those threshold crossing alerts for flow, quality of service, and the like. And that semantic knowledge that I was talking about a little bit earlier allows you to tag various devices as being within certain sites. You can label that primary interface going off to the service provider. So in this case, our San Francisco site has 2 service providers, and I'll be getting into that when I look into PFR. But you can see what the utilization is going off to AT&T or Verizon based off of a capacity of that link. So usually in the enterprise you have that sub-line rate SLA that you're subscribing to from the service provider. We allow you to set the capacity of that link, and then we're going to show you input and output utilization averages for that particular site and use this semantic knowledge within our reporting. Then also from a flow perspective, we're going to give you more granular details about the alerts that are coming in. I actually was playing around with this kind of late last night, and I induced some PFR auto policies. So you see some of that here as little spikes when there was a brownout scenario that I was inducing. And then also from a Medianet perspective, that there's some packet loss and so forth. We also give you typical other flow information within this dashboard, like top 10 source addresses, country information. We subscribe to a geolocation database, so we can tell you how many different countries are coming in and out of the network per se with regards to flow. We also give you information about top 10 application performance and voice and video performance issues, and each one of these could then be drilled down into a report. So if you're looking at Citrix, for example, you can see which devices are giving you information about Citrix, and then by simply clicking on the widget title, it'll take you to the applicable report. So in this case, you can say top 10 application performance, and now I want to look at all the top 10 applications. This is across all devices, but now I'm really interested in maybe my site in Austin, that there was a problem in Austin. So here's all the applications that were running in my Austin site based off of that semantic knowledge that we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. And then there's Citrix. So you may want to dive into Citrix to see how that application is performing over time. By simply right-clicking on that, we're going to be looking at Citrix for the Austin site, view that application over time, and there we see, here we go, that particular search string was then carried through to that next report. We're looking at Austin for the application Citrix. We give you the performance rate, how that application is actually doing, what kind of network delay is occurring. There's actually 2 sets of colors within this network delay, the orange and the blue, which kind of gives you information about server or client delay, number of sessions, number of retransmissions. So if there's a lot of retransmissions for your TCP applications, then you know that there's packet drops occurring. So that's going to impact the performance of the application. So really by using LiveAction's capabilities to dive in and visualize and see all of these reports from an AVC or a Medianet or other type of perspective, we're really able to give you situational awareness. Now, other reports I wanted to just kind of share with you is by using AVC, we can tell you, for example, what types of URLs users within your organization are going to. So we see aroundhawaii.com, actionpack.com, cisco.com, and so forth. And again, you can use that search capability that I was showing you earlier to be able to drill down and find very specific flows about, for example, anything going to Cisco.com, for example. Looks like by just clicking it. Yep, there we go. So there's Cisco.com. The various, we filtered on Cisco.com users. This is the number of flows that we received from this device of users going to Cisco.com or various sites within Cisco.com. By right-clicking again, you have a bunch of different workflows to be able to drill down on that specific URL, and you may want to see who those users are by doing a source address report. We're just basically pivoting this report and drilling down to show you that this particular IP address is going to Cisco.com. So maybe this guy needs a raise because he's researching about IWAN and he's trying to improve himself by looking at various resources on the website. So there's many different ways that you can drill down and pivot these reports to slice and dice the information exactly how you may want to show it. Going to maybe a DSCP report or various other reports. In this case, it's just mark 0. But you get the idea of how LiveAction is able to give you a lot of this information from a flow perspective on the system topology and also within reports. So the question arises then for a lot of our customers, how do you actually turn this on? Yeah, so that could be very difficult for maybe a junior engineer when his manager is telling him that he needs to turn on AVC and Medianet because they learned about it either online or at Cisco Live. So LiveAction will demystify that by helping you to configure this for you. So in this case, we have an 891 router, and this router is newly deployed in our San Jose site. As you can see, we don't have any flows going on in the system, but there is some bandwidth going out their WAN connection and then also in their LAN side. So we want to get visibility there. By turning on visibility with NetFlow, LiveAction will be able to give you a lot more information. So by using our flow configuration utility and that semantic knowledge that we're talking about earlier, I'm going to look for that San Jose device. Here's that San Jose device that I tagged earlier. I'm going to select it and configure that selected device. So right now, LiveAction was reading in the running configuration of the device to get its bearings on what its capabilities are and whether or not NetFlow was already turned on. In this case, I can turn on traffic statistics. This is just general flexible NetFlow. We go also a little bit of a step further by adding in NBAR application support as well within the record. I also tag the interfaces so I know that this Gigabit Ethernet 0 interface is a WAN interface going to Time Warner. This VLAN 102 is a LAN interface. For application response time for AVC measurements, I'm going to turn it on the WAN interface. And maybe for voice and video performance metrics, I'm going to turn it on both interfaces as well. Now, preview the CLI. This is the actual set of configurations that we're going to be sending down to the device to turn on these features for the end user. Now, for a junior engineer, that might be a little difficult to do, but really with LiveAction, we're going to be able to help you turn these features on. By saving it to the device, we're going to push these flow configurations to the 891, and then we're just going to wait for that flow to come in. Yeah, so this is a greenfield deployment. The flow configuration was sent successfully, and now we're just going to sit back. I'm not going to save it to startup. We give you that option also. But now we're just going to wait for some flows to come in, and then we're going to be able to give you more information and visibility for this 891. So all of a sudden, we're seeing WebEx going on in the San Jose site. We're seeing many different other types of applications like SSL and Shoutcast. There's probably some RTP, some Netflix, and so forth. But now all of a sudden, we're able to give you so much more visibility, and then you could run reports, show this on the system topology, and then get much more visibility to help you understand what applications are being consumed within your network. So any questions so far about NetFlow? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and change gears and jump into PFR. So I know a lot of you folks are very interested in PFR. So in this case, this 2921 router out in San Francisco is a collapsed NBAR router. Again, it has two WAN links, one going off to AT&T and the other going to Verizon. The primary path is to take AT&T for your voice calls. Okay? So a lot of customers that we've been noticing are using PFR to protect their critical voice applications. So in this case, this voice call is going from San Francisco to Los Angeles. Now with LiveAction, in our new version of software that we're going to be releasing very shortly, we have a new feature called Medianet Flow Path Analysis. So basically, we have support in the past for media trace, and we can visualize media trace and see hop by hop how that media application is performing. With Medianet Flow Path Analysis, we're simply using performance monitoring NetFlow to give you each of the hop by hop information of this particular flow. And I set this up a little bit earlier for time constraints. By just pressing refresh, we're going to update the information about this particular voice call going from San Francisco to Los Angeles. And we're showing you the hops. It's first going through this 2921 and then, the 1811 and the 2921 at the far end. But unlike media trace, we're going to also give you value add information with the RTP metrics, including CPU utilization, and then also which QoS policies are in line within the path. Right? So our primary WAN edge router in San Francisco, there's an ingress policy that we're marking, and then there's also a WAN shaping policy so that we can shape all that traffic going off to the service provider. By simply clicking show path, we're going to project that flow onto the system topology and show you how it's performing. Everything is green because there's no threshold crossing alerts at the moment. Now notice what happens when I induce a brownout scenario. I have a link tree further down in the AT&T core. You can think of it right on this link. Now I'm not going to completely police that traffic, but rather I'm going to induce some packet loss as well as some delay using this link tree. Here we go. So I'm going to just induce some delay and I'm going to turn emulation on. Now this is just setting up for a brownout scenario. By going back to our NBAR router, we can start looking at PFR statistics. Now all of this information is actually PFR NetFlow coming from that Cisco 2921 router. And what we're waiting for is an update that just came in just now to help you understand that there was a threshold crossing alert affecting the quality of experience for PFR for that voice call. And the reason for that is that there was a loss criteria and there was a delay issue, as we see from the PFR NetFlow records being consumed by LiveAction. Now that's shown in this table view, but it'll also come in the alerts. Now these alerts could be sent to an email. It could also be exported to a syslog server. And there's that PFR out of policy event that occurred for loss events and delay events. Now what you can do here is simply right-click on this alert and open a report. Now LiveAction is going to automatically bring up the report of interest for that particular out-of-policy event that occurred. So we're seeing that traffic was being affected going to this particular destination. The reason for the problem was because of loss and delay, and it occurred right at about 9:48 or 9:46 a.m. Honolulu Standard Time. So easily being able to use these workflows to troubleshoot why there are certain out-of-policy events that are occurring within the network. But now let's go back to that system topology view and see how using projecting those flows across the system topology helps you to understand how that flow is actually being routed by PFR. So going back to that Medianet path analysis, I'm going to go ahead and refresh this flow information. And now all of a sudden we see an extra hop within the system. Now this flow is being diverted down to this 1811, which represents the Verizon service provider. When I press refresh again, we're going to get updated statistics. But notice that PFR worked very nicely. There were no out-of-policy events that occurred. It transitioned that voice flow so quickly that the quality of experience was able to be protected. Now I can show that path on the system. Now previously it was going over AT&T. By showing the path, now we see that it changed gears and went over that southern path over Verizon. Yeah. But the interesting thing about Medianet is it actually gives you information about artifacts that happened in the past. So in this case, we're still seeing some flow information coming from that AT&T router, But when you look at it from the Medianet flow path analysis, we see that that particular flow for that particular hop is a stop media event. So basically that flow occurred sometime in the past. They're still sending us some records about it, but it's actually, that flow is actually no longer there on that device. And eventually that flow is going to be completely gone. It'll time out when the device times out that flow. But we see that it's a media event stop scenario. So there's no information about all the jitter and so forth, but we're actually giving you information about this path that PFR was able to protect. So pretty cool to be able to see that from a workflow perspective with alerts and then visualizing it on the system topology. Any questions so far about PFR? Okay. So by using these various tools within the toolset with PFR and Medianet, we're able to really troubleshoot that critical voice application. But PFR protects the quality of experience from a routing perspective. But what about from a pure QoS perspective? LiveAction has a lot more features there that I'll be going over from quality of service perspective. So let's say we're going back up to that router in Austin, and I'm going to go to the quality of service view. We can then dive in very specifically to that WAN edge interface. Now let's say that service provider, you want to just double check that you have the right queuing, the right shaping going off to that service provider. You can easily use LiveAction by going to that particular WAN edge interface and then monitor that policy. We're looking at a policy in this case called WAN shaping and the output direction. LiveAction is going to give you all the applications that are egressing this device on this particular WAN interface. So we see things like SharePoint and WebEx and Netflix and BitTorrent and the like. Yeah? But then also we're going to show you the quality of service policy below and how that traffic is being mapped to each one of those classes, like mission critical, voice classes, interactive video, and so forth. Now, it's nice to be able to monitor all of this and see exactly how your classes are performing, whether or not you're having any drops. But what about if you need to tweak something? Let's say all of a sudden you wanna troubleshoot that voice call, and maybe it was due to a problem with your queuing. You can simply right-click and then adjust the output quality of service for this particular device. I'm going to click on that. We're loading in the running configuration of this 2921, reading in all the policies and all the class maps, but we're focusing on this WAN shaping policy. And we're showing you each one of the classes and how we're setting the reserved bandwidth settings, the priority queuing for voice, and so forth. Now in this case, we have a 10 megabit circuit that we're shaping to, but maybe you wanted to upgrade that and push it to 15 megabits. We're going to show you the reserved bandwidth that we're setting. Maybe now you also want to update your voice settings, and you want to up that to maybe 1500 kilobits per second. For interactive video and streaming video, you may want to up that traffic bandwidth as well. And we're going to double check that reserved bandwidth utilization that you see below. Now, by simply previewing the CLI, we're able to show you exactly which commands we're going to be pushing to the device to make these changes. Now, again, the thing to keep in mind is this is not template driven. It's really LiveAction reading in the running configurations and making intelligent choices based on exactly how that class and that policy is set up on that Cisco router. Now, by simply saving it to the device, you're going to push that policy down to the device, and then you're immediately going to start seeing quality of service changes. I'm actually not going to do that at this moment, but you kind of get the idea of the capability of the LiveAction software. Now, that was just a simple scenario about adjusting the output QoS on the fly. Now let's take a look at an example of really diving in deep and looking at all the QoS configuration on this 2921 in our Austin site. Here's a list of all the policies configured on the device. Those check marks show you that those policies are actually in use. We can then show you information about how those policies are being used from a routing perspective. What class map matches are you actually using to classify that traffic, and how you're marking that traffic for an ingress policy. Everything is being marked for voice in this particular case. Anything with a match statement of DSCP 46 and some RTP NBAR classifications as well. But NBAR2 has so much more capability now. So for example, if you wanted to use more NBAR2 features for class map matching, LiveAction can help you with that also. So in this case, we can go down to NBAR, and perhaps you wanted to say, I wanted to also set a match for Cisco phone information. You can go ahead and look for that Cisco phone, and there it is. Yeah. You can add that match statement, and then you have it within this particular class map match. Now, perhaps you may also want to use the NBAR grouping capability. So in this case, you can also select a protocol using NBAR groups, go to a category, and then select voice and video. Now, if you select this high-level category, you're going to be matching on all of these various applications shown below. By simply adding that one match statement, you're matching on all those applications. You can preview the CLI, and there you're going to be able to see exactly what LiveAction is going to push down to the device to help you increase the quality of experience or improve it for your critical applications that are of interest. So really, by using LiveAction to manage your network from a flow perspective, to really understand how those flows are traversing your network, which applications are being consumed on the network, and then by using PFR capabilities to see how the routing is being managed to increase that quality of experience, and then finally with quality of service, we can really help in the IWAN scenarios for a lot of our customers to make sure that the quality of experience is protected. And that's really LiveAction at a high level from an IWAN perspective. And if there's any other questions, I'll be more than happy to help you with them.
Yeah, Dana, this is Scott Kirby. I'm curious in the platform support you have for the QoS, because that looks really, really good.
Yeah, good question. So really our bread and butter for quality of service is our ISR G2 routers, ASR routers, and so forth. We also have the ability to do a bit of a deeper dive on quality of service for 6500s, for example. So we can actually go into the hardware queues and give you information about per hardware queue, what kind of how many packets are being queued in each hardware queue, and then, for example, information about priority queues on 6500s. So primarily our bread and butter for full QoS control is ISRs, ASRs, and CSR 1000Vs. But we also have capability in a limited perspective for other switches. So most of the switches out there support MQC on ingress policies. So for policing and marking, LiveAction will be able to help you with that. And then also monitor queuing based off of the hardware queues for various platforms also.
So configuration MQC only, and queuing you have support for certain line cards in the 6500?
Yes, that's right. So any line card in a 6500 we typically have support for. And then also for 3750s and 2960s, there's certain MIBs that we're looking at so that we can give you information about queuing statistics for those platforms also.
All right,
of course, ISRs and ASRs, we're going to give you queuing information for those also because it's also supported more from a CBQoS perspective. One more thing that I think I'll just mention too is LiveAction also helps you not only from the WAN perspective, but also from LAN as well. So in this campus scenario, we actually have a converged wired and wireless device here, the 3850. And this is showing you traffic going from this 3850 with a wireless iPad, all that traffic coming in from that 3850, going out through your campus distribution and core out to your WAN edge to the service provider. But being able to trace all of that flows within your campus is also something that LiveAction excels at. And then being able to show you reports and about wireless clients also is very key within LiveAction. So one of the cool features that we just added from a wireless perspective is being able to do per SSID application reports. So on a per SSID, what applications are being consumed. On a per client basis, we can show you information about who that client is with ICE integration with your wireless LAN controllers. So in this case, that iPad is actually being used by John Doe based off of .1x. So John Doe is right there. You can see exactly, drill down into John Doe and see more information about maybe where he's going by doing a source and destination, bidirectional source and destination pair report. And we can give you more information there as well. So by using these various reports from a WAN perspective and then also in wireless, we can give you more information in the enterprise.